Okay, this is another poem. I did an event that you guys would probably know about, the Peter Gzowski PGI literacy fundraiser. I mangled the name, but you know the one, right? Like people play golf and it's for literacy. It's a great event, and they have this really cool thing. They always have a poet laureate or a speaker or someone to come in and kind of like wrap up the festivities. So I got to do that in Vancouver a few years ago, but like here's how they pitch it to you when you're being approached if you'd like to do it. They say, you're gonna come play golf. Oh, you don't play golf? Well, you should come play golf, it'll be great. And then you'll have 5 minutes, maybe 10, 15 minutes between playing golf and dinner in which you're gonna write like a speech about literacy and its importance and golf, and make some, gentle jabs at some of the local celebrities. That would be nice. And then you'll present it to like 500 of Vancouver's most prominent publishers, business people, CBC personalities, and maybe like God might be there. I don't know. So do you want to do it? Yes, of course. I'm going to die. So, because like on the spot, sometimes all you can think of is like, don't be a schmuck, read a book. Like, and then pretty soon you're just doing literacy events in like Vernon or so what I did was I researched in this topic, and I went to a website that had people who were adult learners who had gone through literacy programs themselves, and they wrote their stories about how their lives had changed once they did some adult education programs. And the stories, like, it slayed me because I never really thought about what it would be like not to love language. So I took some of the stories and I gave them to a character named Florence. So the stories in this are true, they just happen to a lot of different people. Florence can read the secrets from a face, like they were printed uppercase, bold, 72-point font, black letters on yellow background, blazing across a billboard, obvious. Do you know your famous poker stare? Florence has a pretty good idea of what cards you're holding and what lies you told so you could be here instead of babysitting, but words. In all the ways you can get words, whether paper printed, blinking on a PC, spoken directly, megaphoned, repeated, or eavesdropped. Florence has always found that words are strangers who only care to show her their backs. Books or tight-black faces, government forms or double-cross labyrinths, even listening to a couple chat about their vacation for Florence can be like watching a face come racing towards a breakdown. Everything that's inside flicking across so quick and disorganized you miss 5 meanings for every one you can catch. When Florence tries to understand, it's like that. Every commonplace a misstep towards the brim of panic, the mystery of what she's missing, painting it all urgent, always that feeling like it might be important. So Florence drops her eyes just in case to keep her secret. She works at a store that sells picture frames, so this one time, some tourists came in and wanted to know how to get downtown. She could have helped them out with landmarks, but they insisted she find it on a map that had names of streets printed in such a sardine-packed jumble. The downtown course shifted and shifted in front of her like Pacific Boulevard, Drake, Homer, Howe, Drake. She had to tell a lot of lies to get this job in the first place, and now she mainly tries to stay at the back. She refuses to publicly stumble over the frou-frou names the store gives her frame colors. Doesn't realize that 9 out of 10 people who come in don't feel comfortable pronouncing aubergine either. Just like filling out tax forms makes 90% of people feel inferior, to Florence, everyone else speaks miracles. Little girls flip gold coins out of their mouths and their parents don't even notice. Florence wonders, what's the use of being able to read faces if you can't even say what you notice? She hates that saying, pictures don't lie. Because they do. It's just in all the things they decide not to tell you. Like this one time she came home with a can of food because it had the most delicious looking cut of fish drawn on the side of it. Now, what exactly are you supposed to say when you realize you come home with cat chow? That night, Florence and her husband revisit the when and what then conversation they've been having for years now. When are you going back to school? If I die, what then? Florence feels the hand of a giant pressing into her chest. She's made of wax. His hand just sinks and sinks. The next day, she's back at the back of the store. Today, there's a man who's been standing for like 15 minutes in front of the sample wall, lifting an 8.5 by 11 sheet to eyeline with the frames. The picture, he claims, is of a rainbow trout, but Florence has reason to doubt it. Florence figures if that fish were put on the side of a tin, people would probably expect to get cat food. It's that mangled. But Florence knows faces, and this man's face is saying that the picture he is holding is a picture that must be pressed delicate against alabaster backing, needs to be cradled in the elegant, crooked fingers of a gilded frame. So if you were to put one of those career and personal planning goal sheets in front of Florence at this exact moment, here's what she'd fill in. If Florence went back to school, she could open up her own gallery. She'd put the cat food fish somewhere in the middle. Yes, she actually is that sentimental. But what Florence would like to do more than anything would be to sneak in sometime in the middle of the night and write all of the descriptions. Tell why things were important. Give you the whole story about anyone who ever stood humble before the hauteur of teakwood, the self-assurance of oak molding. And then in the morning she'd come in and watch people's faces and see if they could tell that someone like her wrote it. Someone like Florence, who's got a voice and an eye like her namesake Florence, the gallery city in Italy full of pictures placed on pinnacles. She notices you and thinks you're a miracle. You have met Florence, might have guessed that she had secrets, the one, her trouble with words, the other, the fact that she is worth the city of monuments she'd build for everyone else. She just needs someone to notice.